Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Mead and Me. This week we're going to be doing Salmon and Door Peninsula Mead. You can see here it is a sweet honey wine from 100% Wisconsin wildflower honey. Salmon is Bristol-based Sockeye salmon. I get it from Sitka Salmon Shares. Your grocery store might have it. Sockeye is a little bit more rare, but it can be easily transferred over to Atlantic or King salmon. Now all we're going to do today is put olive oil on a tray and season it. So we have our olive oils here. I have a couple of options. The first one is a lemon olive oil. This will add a little bit of a citrus taste, a little bit of an acidity to it. And this is just your basic olive oil here. The seasoning I picked is a seasoning from the Spice House. It's just a combination of shallots and a couple of other herbs. So you can pick that up if you want it. And then we just have a large jar of garlic. So this is really easy actually. We're only going to use 3 kitchen ingredients. All we're going to do, take the salmon out of the package. Now, once you feel like it's sufficiently out, we're going to lay some olive oil down for it to be on. We don't want it to stick to the pan too much, so just a little bit of olive oil will suffice in adding some flavor and keeping it from attaching too much to the pan. Now we're gonna leave the back skin on for this. So you can see still skin on. We're gonna leave it on until after it finishes cooking. So all we're gonna do right now is we're gonna cut 2 grooves in our salmon. Now this part can be skipped if you don't really want the garlic taste, but what I'm going to do now is open up our garlic here, get a large spoonful, and I'm going to shove it into those gaps to give it a little bit more surface area to pick up on when I'm cooking it. So we're going to layer a whole bunch of garlic here, put it on, and just kind of shove it on in. Now you don't have to be super precise with it. Just kind of make sure it's covered. Spread it out, get it into those gaps. Now obviously this is a lot of garlic, so if you don't prefer as much, you can change how much you add to the top. With that done, all we're gonna do, add some seasoning to the top. I just like to give it a light sprinkle just to make sure that it's all covered, but nothing too aggressive here. Our next step, now that we have our seasoned fish on our pan, we're going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. So we'll turn it on up here. All you're going to do then, take your pan, slide it on in, cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes, give or take, of course, on the size of the fillet that you have. Larger may take up to 30 minutes, depending on how much you have. So we're going to come back and check in about 25 minutes. Welcome to the mead portion. So as I said before, we have our Door Peninsula Winery mead here. So we can see from the bottle it is a 750 at 11.5% alcohol. It is 100% Wisconsin wildflower honey, as I said. Our glass today is a nice oof glass, so very nice, donated by a viewer. So we're gonna give it a taste, give it a little bit of a review, see how it compares. So it is pretty light, it is pretty sweet, which is good. Now, there are drier ones out there, but I kind of prefer the sweet, so it works out good for me. It is mostly the honey with a little bit of a lighter acidity taste, kind of like a little bit of orange in honey, I'll say. I am a pretty big fan. We're gonna give this 6.5 Jacksons out of 10. Pretty good, not too bad on the list. For our mead fact of the day, mead is the only alcohol made with honey. Additionally, it is one of the oldest forms of alcohol that exists on Earth. Cheers. Alright, so it is time to take the fish out of the oven. We're going to pull it out here. And I have down a little pad here just to make sure it doesn't burn the counter. Something you can tell really easily is you can see the color will change from when we started. It becomes a more deep orange kind of color from when we started. And additionally, if you have a thermometer, you can make sure the internal temperature of its thickest parts are 145 degrees. So you can see that this is about 160, so we're plenty of ways over that 145, so we won't have any issues here. So at this point you have two options. The first option is if you want to leave the skin on and just eat it off of that, you can absolutely do that. Or at this point, this would be when you would peel the skin off. So I'm going to take 2 forks. I'm going to peel that skin off for you, just to kind of show you how it's going to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel it up from the bottom here. Flip it over. Now once you do this, I'm going to use a fork. You can use your fingers. It might be a bit hot here. You'll see that some chunks will come off, but it should just peel right off. There you go. Now, there's a gray section here. This is okay to eat. I enjoy it, but you can definitely take that off if it distresses you. Simply flip it back over and serve it. We're going to serve it with salad later, but you can kind of serve it with whatever you want. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Mead and Me. Hope to see you next week. If you liked it, like and subscribe.